It is Wednesday, June 10th, 2020, and you are tuned into DIRTRACKR Daily. I'm Justin Fiedler. I wanted to start out today by talking just briefly about Kyle Larson's schedule for this season. After Lake Ozark with the World of Outlaws, Larson had just come off a stretch where he'd finished in the top 2 in 3 of 4 races, including a win at the Federated Auto Parts Raceway at I-55 in Peabody, Missouri. To that point, he'd run every World of Outlaws race so far this season, and I actually believe there was hope from some that maybe he would just continue out with the Outlaws all season. Leaving Lake Ozark, he was 8th in the World of Outlaws Series point standings, but he was actually a fairly sizable 140 points out from the lead. His Volusia results at the beginning of the year were not as good as he would have hoped, and that was why he was in that big of a hole at that point already. It's not really my belief that Larson ever intended to run the full World of Outlaws schedule this season anyway, but if he'd chosen to go that direction, 140 points, even at this early point in the season, is a really big hole to climb out of, especially when you've got Sweet, Schatz, Schuhart, those guys running in the top 5 every single night. You know, Sweet and Schatz still have not finished outside of the top 10 this season, so it would have been difficult for him to claw his way back into the championship, you know, even with all of the success that we think he's capable of. Plus, I think it's important to understand from a team and logistics standpoint what it takes to run with the World of Outlaws for a full season. Not only do you need those dedicated partners, you know, you need crew members who are able and willing to run that schedule. Plus, you need enough equipment to make that work. And it's not just race cars. It's a truck. It's engines. It's all of these things. So, you know, the Paul Silva 57 has not run a schedule like that in the past, and there's been some talk that he's not really even interested in running the full World of Outlaws schedule. So, you know, not everybody wants to be on the road all year long. And, you know, going forward with the ability to set his own schedule, it's not surprising to see what Larson has actually done in the last week, you know, and kind of what's coming up next for him here. After Lake Ozark, Larson jumped in with the All-Stars and had a 2nd and 2 wins this past week to go along with a win, a 4th and 8th with the series back in February. And if the schedule would have worked out, I think it would have been effectively 5 races in 5 nights because of what happened last night, which we'll talk about shortly. They're only going to get 4 races in 5 nights, but that was quite a bit of racing that he was able to do. He's going to run again tonight with the series at Devil's Bowl before heading back to Knoxville this weekend for the 2 World of Outlaws shows. And then starting next week, he's on entry list for Indiana Midget Week with USAC. Larson was able to pack a bunch of sprint car races into a short period of time there with the All-Stars. And then he ran up front, a couple of wins, battled with Aaron Reitzel there. And then following this weekend, the 57 car will be able to go home and regroup while Larson jumps in a midget for a week with Chad Boat and the Tucker Boat guys. I think this is what you'll probably see from Larson for the remainder of the series, of the season. He's going to jump from series to series and car type to car type and really do what he wants to do, hit the races he wants to hit and those big events and things like that. Knoxville Nationals, I would imagine you'll see him there, things like that. So, there's no question at this point that out with the Outlaws full time or the All-Stars full time, he would be a threat for either championship. Nobody doubts that. But with all that's available to him, why run just one series or just one car type even, with midget sprint cars, whatever it is he wants to run. There's just too much out there for him to do. And I really believe a full-time run with the World of Outlaws, or another series is just going to have to wait for another time and another year for Larson. This obviously just is not the year for that to happen. So, and I think that's fine. That's absolutely fine. If that's what he wants to spend the summer doing, we will follow along and be in awe of those race wins and the incredible things he's able to do across those series. So, I think it'll be fun to get to watch him over the summer. And I wanted to kind of talk about that a little bit. Just because it was, I kind of felt like that feeling was kind of growing that like, oh man, maybe, we've heard him talk about it in the past. Maybe this is the year where he finally does this World of Outlaws thing. But, again, you have to be prepared for that. And nobody was prepared for that at this point. So it's not surprising that that's just not going to be the case. Speaking of the All-Stars and what we just mentioned, the AllStar Circuit champions were supposed to be racing last night, making it for the Outlaw Motor Speedway show that got rained out over the weekend. But unfortunately, high winds last night forced the cancellation completely of the event. The series is back tonight at Devil's Bowl Speedway in Texas with the aforementioned Kyle Larson having won the previous 2 races and Aaron Reitzel leading the series point standings. They continue straight through the weekend. They have stops at Southern Oklahoma Speedway, actually following Devil's Bowl. They have stops at Southern Oklahoma Speedway, Monarch Motor Speedway, Lone Star Speedway, and Chatham Speedway. I believe Chatham is on Sunday. If you can attend those races, you can watch live on Flow Racing. Also today, the All-Stars announced the Keith Kaufman Classic at Port Royal Speedway has been scheduled for Wednesday night, June 24th, after originally having been slated to happen in April. This will be the All-Stars' first trip to Pennsylvania in 2020, and they will race for $6,000 to win. They also announced that the Tuscarora 50 weekend, which will now be 3 days, September 10th through the 12th, Thursday and Friday will be prelim programs, and then Saturday being that big 50-lap finale. So a lot of good things on the horizon here for the All-Stars, and nice to see some of those Pennsylvania races getting added back to the schedule. And, that Tuscarora 50 kind of growing. That's always been one of those kind of marquee events on the calendar there in Pennsylvania. So neat to see that grow into a 3-day weekend. If you'd like more information about these announcements, you can visit allstarsprint.com. You can also check out their full schedule there. They've got some North Carolina stuff coming up. Not North Carolina, South Carolina races coming up here as well. So they're going to do some more races in the South, and then some stuff in Tennessee as well. So you can check that schedule out and all the announcements over there at allstarsprint.com. Besides the All-Stars on Flow Racing, there are a number of other live streams to check out tonight. Fast 4 Media has the start of Sooner 600 Week at Caney Valley Speedway. Speed Shift has action from Thunder Hill Speedway, and Speed Sport TV has IMC action from Buena Vista Raceway. If you want to see the full list of those pay-per-view shows, you can visit DIRTRACKR.com/watch tonight, keeping that updated every single day. And there's been a ton of racing. There's going to continue to be a ton of racing here through the summertime, so that will be a great place for you to check out what to watch if you are looking to scratch that dirt racing itch. Weird situation. The USMTS Modifieds are in action this week starting Thursday at Cedar Lake, but the series announced yesterday they've been forced to cancel Monday's race at Park Jefferson Speedway in South Dakota due to issues surrounding insurance and problems with the local township regarding a road closure. Apparently, because this road, the township will not close this road, the track is having difficulty getting insurance. So until Park Jefferson can get the situation resolved, they've actually chosen to cancel all racing during the remainder of June, not just that USMTS show. So, shame for that situation up there in Park Jefferson. Hope they're able to get that worked out. But the USMTS, the 3 nights this week at Cedar Lake, can be watched live on Race and Dirt TV. That will also feature full programs for the USRA late model. So if you're looking for some modified action to check out this weekend, that will be a good place to start. If you're looking for some podcasts to listen to this week, there are a bunch of new episodes. Wing Nation has episodes with Lance DeWeese and Stuart Brubaker, and then also an episode with Brian Dunlap from Dirt Vision. Rip the Fence has Justin Grant. Top Shelf has Jack Dover and Anthony Ainsley. There's a new episode from Dirt Nerds. And I just added here within the last couple of weeks the new Knoxville podcast, The Dirt from Knoxville. They have episodes this last week or 10 days or so with Tyler Courtney and Russ Hall. So another new dirt racing podcast to check out. If you haven't, I would recommend that. A lot of stuff around Knoxville, sprint cars, the sprint cars that run there regularly, and all kinds of things to talk about around Knoxville. So check that one out if you haven't yet. To see all the new episodes, you can do that at DIRTRACKR.com/podcast. That updates in real time. So as episodes get posted from the various dirt racing podcasts on there, you can find those there, and you can click and listen and subscribe and do all of that there. So do that as well. That's the show for today. Hope everybody has a good Wednesday. Not sure about tomorrow's show yet. I'm supposed to go to Martinsville tonight for the NASCAR race, and the weather isn't looking super great, so I'll keep you posted on if we end up having to go back tomorrow, or if maybe the show will be delayed, till later in the day tomorrow. I'll keep you posted on that. So stay tuned to the Dirt Tracker social media accounts for any updates about tomorrow's show. But hope everybody has a good Wednesday. You can find Dirt Tracker Daily on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Stitcher, or where you get podcasts. Please subscribe, leave a review. You can also watch the show on YouTube and Facebook. You can email the show at info@dirttracker.com. And you can follow along at facebook.com/DIRTTRACKR, twitter.com/DIRTTRACKR, and the website itself, DIRTTRACKR.com. You can follow me personally on Twitter at Justin_Fiedler, and you can sign up for the Dirt Tracker weekly newsletter live on the site. Thanks everybody for tuning in. We will see you hopefully tomorrow for more Dirt Tracker Daily.